Welcome, guys. We're going to be looking at a history of High-ELO ARAM documentary put together by DongHuap. As we were discussing in our previous ARAM, we were like, there's a documentary out about this, and we're not High-ELO right now, but we have been up there, like top 0.5 or top point something percent. So let's take a look at it.
Yeah, I want to see which parts of this history I remember and took part of. Maybe innovated myself, or we innovated ourselves. There's a lot of history to ARAM that I think goes unappreciated, so I'm excited to see this.
Yeah, let's dive right on in.
Sponsored by Opera GX.
I guess
Opera
you don't have
GX
to pause
is the
for
browser
this.
specifically
One
tailored
thing
for gamers
is,
like us, with features like their
we didn't
own
become
Discord server and
High-ELO
more.
ARAM
If you're
until
like me and
probably
you've
about
had some crappy
season
laptops
8
in the
or
past,
7 or
GX
8,
Control
I would say,
allows you
is
to
when we
dictate
started like
exactly
winning
how
ARAMs
much
a lot
CPU
more.
and RAM
Yeah.
your browser's going to be using.
So
Chrome might be a nice browser,
we
except
don't
when
have
you want
any
to run
expertise
literally
prior to then. We
anything
still
else.
played ARAM,
Since the last
but
time
we were
Opera
not,
sponsored
you know,
me, I've been using
We
it
weren't
dying
good
in
at
the
it.
love of ARAM.
amazing.
Also,
for making sure that I
side
don't miss a
note,
stream
I
from my
cannot hear the
favorite
video.
content creators who
Interesting.
do highly
All right.
in-depth educational content, teaching me about
Let's see
all
if we
kinds
can
of different things that I didn't know
finesse
before.
I'm streaming this video in Discord so then Aaron can see it as well, which I think is the play. Tell me if you can hear this now. We're going to include a little bit of the technical difficulties in here because it's
and a lot
fun.
of times you can forget about your phone.
Can you hear that?
Missing out on important
So
push
far it has not
notifications.
loaded. One moment.
Thanks to the
Let me try
built-in
stop
notification
watching.
system of
Alright.
Opera, I've not missed a
Yes,
single
now I can
update
hear
from
it.
the most
Cool.
important intellectuals on Twitter and Instagram.
Oh, nice.
You can customize your
Good
browser
one,
to make sure
DongHuap.
that you get exactly what types of updates you want from your Opera GX browser.
I think the
GX
thing
Corner
that
will
really
keep you updated
changed
about
our
all the new
ARAM
games that are going
gameplay
to be
was
coming out,
just
and it includes
understanding
a
that it was
variety of
good
different
to die in
customizations, from
ARAM at
special
good
themes
times.
to wallpapers and a forced dark mode.
I think that was
Opera
a
is the
very
only browser
potent
that cares
realization
about the
for
practical
winning
and
ARAMs. It was
aesthetic
like,
portion
you
for
should just
gamers.
die right here,
Download
or you
today
should
with
push
my
up
link
and
in
then
the
die,
description.
or just like,
All
this will
random,
lose you the
all
game
mid.
if you die right here, so
ARAM
don't
is
do
the
that.
oldest casual for fun
Alright,
mode
let's
that has
see
been
what he-
around
yep.
in League of Legends.
See what
Many
he's got to
different
say.
game modes have come and gone over the years. 3 vs 3, Dominion, 1 vs 1.
I miss Dominion.
Yet ARAM
Dominion
is
was
the only
fun.
real casual
play a
game
lot
mode
of
that
it,
seems to
but
stick around.
it
Despite the
was
fact
great
that
for
ARAM is
custom
designed
games.
as a
Yeah.
for fun game mode, there is still a community of highly dedicated high-elo ARAM
us.
players who obsess over their rankings in ARAM and practice to compete
That was us.
on a high
Yep,
level
for a little
of play
bit it was.
in this game mode. In this video, we will be talking to the best ARAM players in
Back when
NA
clubs
and
were around, we
US,
had like
along
ARAM
with the
try
best
hard
ARAM
like
team
tags.
Yeah.
It was really
with a
fun. We got
ridiculous
flamed for that whenever we'd
95%
lose, so
win rate,
sort of
as
bettered
well
you.
as the former head of
Kind of
ARAM
insulted he
design
didn't
at
come
Riot
talk
Games.
to us.
This is League of Documentary.
Oh man,
I'm
remember
Riot Mort.
pre-balance ARAM?
Currently, I'm
Yeah.
the design lead on TFT.
That
but
was
before that,
basically
I
just
was
get
the
Sona and
lead
win.
on the modes
Yeah.
team for a while. After working
how it felt,
on
at
the
least.
skins team, during that time, I got to help make alterations to our various modes. As for the genesis of ARAM, it was a little before my time, but I've
Interesting. I
talked
didn't know
to
Mort
some of the
was
designers
behind
who were there
ARAM.
originally, and basically
Mort's
it came
behind
down
everything
to
good in
there was
League, I
this really
guess.
fun
Yeah.
community mode that had been taking
Gotta
off.
get
Normally
Mort
played
on
on Summer
this.
Rift,
Get some
but
inside
a lot of people had
scoop.
fun with it, and so the modes team at the time was trying to offer new ways to play League of Legends, and so bringing that community mode to life was one of their earlier ideas. And of all the different modes, it was the one that ended up being
Man,
the
old
stickiest.
League.
So for a mode to stick around,
Something
basically
else.
what it needs to do
Yeah,
is
this
sort of
just doesn't
accomplish the
even look
goals
like
it
the
was set
same
out.
game.
One of the obvious
Yeah.
goals is like, yeah, engagement. A lot of people playing it, not just playing it for a short time, but
The
playing over
Bilgewater
a long
event?
period of time.
Remember that,
That was
man?
Right, we've had
Great,
modes
yeah.
where some people play.
That was
it
like
as a
the one
game
time we got a
event.
little bit of
but then
respect for
burn out
being
and move on to something
ARAMers.
else. ARAM was one of the modes
Yeah.
that actually kept people around a long time. League of Legends players would often just play that for a little bit and go, cool, but I already have League, why do I need this? And they just go back to playing League. This was the big problem with like Dominion, right? Dominion was
Yeah,
fun for a
I would
while,
never
but by
play
the end,
Dominion for
everyone
more
was
than like
why
a
am I
game or
not
two at a
just playing
time. I was like,
League?
okay.
Yeah.
In the early days of ARAM, there was absolutely no balancing. ARAM was just for
True.
fun, and
Karthus
players
early
were
on?
just
Oh
meant
man,
to play it as
old
a
ARAM
casual
Karthus
game mode.
before they made him
There
really
was no
squishy.
real
and do a lot
expectations
less
from players
damage.
to get any
Just
real
stacking
ARAM changes
CDR and
whatsoever.
pressing R on
Health
cooldown.
Shrines only
Yup.
healed one person back then, and Snowball wasn't even in the game yet.
Oh yeah,
So,
old Health
meta-wise,
Shrines
it was
suck.
completely one-sided. Poke champions
You used to
were
be able to get a
so
lot more mad
incredibly
about
dominant that
somebody
champions
stealing your
like
health
Lux,
shrine than you do
Ziggs,
now.
and Jace had
It was like
70%
the old
win
Tyler
rates in
one. If
ARAM.
someone stole your
Because
kill, but it was your
ARAM's
health pack.
success
If
was
you were
so
low, you just
heavily
run it
dependent
down.
on
Yup.
champion select,
Yeah.
it led to the first iteration
I
of
think the sticking
ARAM
power
tryharding,
of ARAM
which was ARAM
is
only.
the fact that
The
it doesn't
all-random
require
in
as much
ARAM
macro
wasn't
brain
so
power.
random
So if
in
you
the
want to like
early
turn that
games.
off for a
The
second,
pool of champions that
you
you
can
could
a
pull
little
was
bit more
based
than
on
a
two
normal League of
things.
Legends game.
First, which 10 champions
yeah,
were
like if you
available
die
in
5
every
times-
champion rotation
farm.
list that
yeah,
week,
you don't have to
That's-
farm. And if you die
which
5 times, it doesn't
champions you
matter.
personally owned.
Yeah.
So if you were on a fresh account
You say,
and
"Oh,
purchased
dude, it's
only
ARAM, why are you
broken
mad?"
poke
Yeah,
champions for
ARAM, why are you
ARAM,
mad?
along
And people
with
are
any
getting
other
so much
champions
gold
that you were
anyway that
incredibly
like 5
comfortable on,
kills, I
you
think
could
they
pretty much
just aren't
guarantee
worth
a good
as
pick
much
for your ARAM
proportionately.
game every single game.
Mhm.
Multiply this by 4 other teammates who were doing the
Talking
exact
about
same
the
thing,
ARAM only
and
accounts,
you
we
were
never
guaranteed
did
no
that.
less than a
So
completely
we have
cancerous
that up on
composition.
some
This was the
others,
dawn of
High-ELO.
High-ELO ARAM. Poke, poke, poke. For a very long time
The old
afterwards,
poke
poke
meta, who could
champions
forget
were
it?
really the only thing that were dominant in ARAMs.
This is
Then
painful
came
to
a
just watch the
revolution.
video of.
A few seasons after its release,
Yeah.
Riot began doing events for ARAM, and the first event was called Legend of the Poro King. The
That
idea
was fun.
simple. Throw
The first
snowballs
super
at the enemy
long-range
team,
poros.
and whichever
Yeah.
team hit 10 snowballs first summoned a giant poro to fight for them. The new summoner spell, Mark and Dash,
I didn't know they had an
completely
all-star
turned the
version
ARAM
of
meta
this where they like
upside
had
down.
like
All of
legit
a sudden,
players doing it.
champions
Man,
that were considered
hilarious.
garbage in ARAM, like
Pause
tanks
this
and
real quick.
bruisers,
I want to
suddenly
reminisce. All right, who we got in here? We got
Maybe
Soaz.
Let's do a
Miss
little
him.
bit better of a yeah.
Got Soaz. He's a great one. I think he's
Did anybody
playing amateur still.
Really? How old is he at this point? How old do League of Legends players get before it's like time to be a coach, time to move on?
26, 27, I think, is your upward limit before you're moved to coaching. Mithy is TSM's coach. Soaz is 27. I just looked that up, and he is on Team LDLC. I don't know if he's a coach or a player,
But he's
it's
there.
one of the European Challenger leagues or amateur. I don't know.
Okay.
You got way less. He used to be Godv, and he went into Worlds one year. I don't remember which year, as a super hot player, and then he just sucked. And his name was Godv, and people just started calling him Goldv because he's one of the most disappointing players of the year. But
that feels
Mata,
bad.
I don't remember Albus. I don't know who that is. Mata, of course, legendary support. Won Worlds in Season 5, I think he was on Samsung White.
I don't
Or no,
remember,
he was on...
despite-
Was he on Samsung Blue? I don't remember.
Yeah.
Seems like he's won Worlds. And then on the other team, Smeb, best top laner of all time, maybe? At least he was best in the world at one point. And then, who could forget Bengi, right-handed faker, Reignover, good veteran. Levi was the Gigabyte Marine star player.
From
who
Attack
carried
on
them.
Titan.
Yeah, he did name himself after Levi from Attack on Titan. There's also
Actually.
Ackerman. Yeah, he did.
That's
There's
great.
also Ackerman, who named himself after Levi from Attack on
Dude, the
Titan.
impact of anime. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Sorry. I just wanted to reminisce over some old pro players. I got a little nostalgic there. We can keep going.
You're all good. The funny thing is that like I never really paid too much attention to like the professional play.
Yeah.
So you're sitting here like, who could forget these players? And I was like, I didn't forget them, but I was never acquainted with them. But I'm
Yeah.
happy for you that you're having such a good time like going
Oh,
through
man.
these and being like
Who doesn't love some good old pro League of Legends?
a little bit of nostalgia. Let's get it started again though.
began to see their win rates spike 10 to 30%. Poke champions who had been the abusers for most of the history of ARAM suddenly became the abused. There is a reason that Riot
Yeah,
never
Snowball
introduced
is
Snowball
the
on
best,
Summoner's Rift. It's
best
stupidly
addition to
broken.
ARAM
Besides
ever.
serving as a consistent engage tool for champions, here's just a short list of things you can do with the Snowball.
Does
If
a
you have
disgusting
blink
amount
back
of
champion,
damage?
such as Zed, LeBlanc,
Yeah.
or Lissandra, you can use Snowball to throw down a very basic combo for free harass and blink back to your original
Yep.
spot.
Calling
without
it
getting
free
punished.
is a little
Snowball
bold.
is designed for
That is,
engage,
because
but that
if they
doesn't
know
mean
you're
you
doing
only
it,
have to engage with
you
yourself.
can.
If you have a champion,
Yeah,
like
if they have a
Zed, you can
Soraka or
range
if they have
someone
anything
with
like
you
that.
while you're dashing with the
I can
snowball,
say I don't
so you
think
can
I've ever
hold
seen
two
someone do
players
that
on the
in a
same
game.
target at
Yeah.
once.
Snowball lantern,
Snowball
because
also has
that's
an
just
invulnerability
crazy.
phase while you're dashing. This means that you can dodge wind-up abilities that are crucial for teamfights. Big abilities such as Camille, Garen, and
Yeah.
Karthus ult can be rendered completely useless with a single well-timed
wow,
dash.
yeah.
And remember, when
That's
you're
really
dashing
hard.
with Snowball, you will always
Yeah.
end up right
You didn't
in
dodge
front
that
of the
Zillion
champion
bomb
from
last
the
game,
direction
but
that you're coming
I think
from.
you
Yeah.
should
Which
have.
means that if a champion doesn't have
I really
space
thought I
to
would.
stand on, they don't
I've also
actually get
never
to
seen someone do
appear
that.
in front of you
Yeah,
or behind
that's
you.
crazy.
Snowball has tons of different variants and uses for it, and it has well become a
Old
crucial
Swain.
staple for ARAM. This
Oh,
summer
man.
spell would later go
Love
on to
Old
be
Swain.
nerfed
Love
and
New
changed
Swain,
so that
but
the
also
range
love,
was shorter and the cooldown
Old
was
Swain.
longer,
Yeah.
but the summoner spell was a revolution for Riot. What was originally intended to just be a seasonal for fun event added a crucial component for ARAM balance that snowballed Riot's thinking
Yup.
into realizing
Nice pun.
balancing things on ARAM is actually a very positive thing, and that we shouldn't be
Understood.
afraid of doing so. Because just half a season later, ARAM would meet the most meta-shifting change that it had ever seen.
Tell me what it is.
And it was in the form of a single rune called
Oh,
Dark
yep.
Harvest. Spells were initially introduced.
This
at
is
the
when
end
we
of
were
season
playing
7.
quite a
Nearly
bit.
all of them were
You would
extremely
do
broken
Dark
on
Harvest
release, but
every
none
single
so
game,
more than
no
Dark
matter
Harvest.
what, and it was
Today, if you
literally
get Dark
just
Harvest
whoever
ARAM,
had more
you'll
Dark
get 2
Harvests
stacks every
won.
time you damage an
Yeah.
enemy champion while they're low. The damage scales with the number
it
of
dropped
stacks you
from
have.
minions
But when
as
Dark
well
Harvest
back
was
then.
released, not only would
Oh,
you
yeah.
get a full 6 stacks, you could also gain 4 stacks off of large minions.
Yeah.
It also empowered your next attack against an enemy champion
Yeah.
instead
Oh.
of just serving as an execute. Dark Harvest would go on to be nerfed in ARAM only an
Oh,
additional 3
I-
times.
It was
before
insanely
players
OP,
decided
but I
that it
would
was
play a
actually
couple games
balanced.
with old Dark
This would
Harvest.
become a very
Yeah.
common theme throughout the history.
It was
of
fun
ARAM's
to
meta.
see. That was
Mechanics
back when,
that worked very well in Summoner's Rift,
I'd play full
but
AP
accidentally
Nami and it'd go
broke the game
pretty
of
well
ARAM.
because
Take
you'd just be
Demolish, for
bouncing
example.
heals and
Demolish
stuff
is
everywhere.
a classic
Yeah.
rune that deals a solid chunk of damage.
I
to a
remember
tower.
on
It's very
Shen,
strong for early
old
game
Shen
champions
with that
and
Dark
tanks who want
Harvest
some extra
just
plating
was
in the
so
early game.
unbearably
Today,
strong.
ARAMers
Oh,
still
yeah.
take Demolish
Because
on many of their
you
tanks.
just get
But when
reset,
you're in a game
basically.
mode that has only 4 turrets instead of
And
11,
Shen doesn't
those
deserve
turrets
that much
are much
damage.
more valuable. When Demolish first came out, what some 5 stacks would do was intentionally run a full tank
I don't think we
composition,
ever did that.
and all of them
No.
would take Demolish.
There was
By
the
having
meat
5
boys where we'd
demolishes,
just pick as
they
much
would be
meat as we
able to
could,
Yeah.
and then
instantly one-shot a turret with a
there just
single
wasn't any counterplay to
synchronized
tanks
big
for a little
swing
while
auto
in
attack.
this game
And
mode.
they
Yeah.
could do this shit over and over and kamikaze themselves until every
Yeah,
single
we were never,
tower was gone.
ending
Demolish
tower
would also go on
demolition.
to be significantly
Yeah.
nerfed in ARAM only, reducing its damage by almost a third. It was also made sure that only one person
Cho'Gath
could
still does a
proc
lot of
Demolish at
damage
the
with
same
that.
time. Demolish
Oh, yeah.
is still a
I
very
think one Demolish
well-loved
is
rune
good
on
on a team.
High-ELO ARAM today. But it was
Oh, yeah,
strategies
it is
like
a
this that
well-loved
really
rune in
began the
High-ELO ARAM
conversation
today.
of how much balancing a for-fun game mode would really need. By this point, we were at Season 8,
Nerf
and
Akali?
ARAM had been in the game for
Nerf
over 5
Katarina?
seasons now. At this point, no one expected ARAM to ever go away. So in Season 9, we saw the first iteration
this
of
is
real ARAM-only
the beginning
nerfs
of
and
the end.
buffs. Although there are still some champions that are clearly better than others, you probably won't ever see another champion
The
with a
win
plus
rates just don't tell the
60%
whole
win
story.
rate on
They,
ARAM
they
for very
don't.
long.
They don't tell the. We could make a whole 45-minute video just talking about it, but
Yeah,
maybe
like,
that's down the road.
yeah.
So what does it actually mean to be in high-elo ARAM?
Tell me.
Contrary to popular belief, it doesn't mean that the best solo queue players come together
I mean,
to play ARAM.
you might run into Golden
Every
Glue.
mode in
That's
League of
true.
Legends, the game wherever TFT included actually. Every
we
MMR
did
is
play
separate from every other
with,
MMR. So for
Golden Glue in
example,
one
you
game.
can
He
be
carried us. He's
challenger
very
and
good.
ranked.
Yeah,
You'll
he
queue up
was
for your first
playing
game of
Jinx and he
normals,
was going
you're a
absolutely bananas
base,
on
normal,
Jinx.
Yeah.
crappy MMR. They do not affect each
That
other
was one of the
in any way,
coolest
shape,
league
or form.
experiences,
If ARAM
probably.
MMR is not
ever
Yeah.
had.
affected by solo
I was
queue,
very
how do you
pogged out
actually
about
get
that.
into
Yeah.
high-elo ARAM? And what kind of players are in high-elo ARAM? Unsurprisingly, high-elo challenger players won't have high-elo ARAM MMRs.
Hey, some
If
of
you
them
want
do
be
ARAMs to
high-elo
warm up,
ARAM,
and I
you
think
That's
have to
that's who you
play
run
a
into.
lot of ARAM. And most high-ranking solo queue players, well, they mostly just play solo queue. So how does ARAM MMR actually work? There is no official
I remember
ladder
looking at
for the ARAM
Khan's
MMR.
solo
so
queue,
what players do instead
or
is
his
they rely on
op.gg,
third-party websites,
and
such
he
as
he
What
plays
Is My
ARAMs to
MMR.
warm up,
But
and he's
ARAM
not in
rankings
High-ELO
are
ARAM, and I just think it's so
completely
funny,
different
like a
from
silver
solo queue.
player running
In
into
solo
one of the
queue,
best top
high-ranking
laners in the
players
world, and
Yeah.
compete with other
trash.
high-ranking players that are of at least close elo. In ARAM, you could queue with anyone you want. That's the point of a for-fun game mode. But
I was
winning
queuing
games
with
doesn't
one of our
necessarily
friends
mean
who
that you
does
actually
not play a lot of
up
League
your
yesterday.
ranking. Let's suppose you play a game with your friend.
And
One of
like
your
he's
ARAM
like level
MMRs is
43, and not like that's a
significantly higher
smurf, he
than the
just
other.
is
Even
level
if you go on to
43.
win that game,
And
your
I was playing
MMR will
Caitlyn,
always go down.
and oh
even
my
if you go on
goodness,
to lose
low
that game,
low
their MMR
elo
will always go up.
ARAMs
There
are
only
crazy.
two
I just
ways
got
to
like
raise
30
your
kills on
MMR.
Caitlyn.
Either
Like
play
I got a
solo
penta
by
like twice.
yourself,
Like it was
or
ridiculous.
play with other extremely high-ranking ARAM
One of them was
players.
unofficial.
Even
One of
though
them was
high-elo
official though.
ARAMers do value their
Yeah.
ranking on the ladder, most of them acknowledge that the ARAM ladder
That was
is
us,
kind
bro.
of
That was-
meaningless and it's kind of pointless.
Yeah.
This is Gom Jabbar. He has the record of highest MMR for a single ARAM player in the history of North America, sitting at 3,674,
that's a lot.
which is
What
200
did we
more
peak
than
at?
the current highest
I think,
rated
like,
MMR
27,
players in NA
2800.
and E West.
When I'm talking about
That
MMR
was
as
it?
a meme, I'm talking about
Maybe-
I thought
the
we-
track
maybe
I thought we were
and the
higher.
Closer to
leaderboard
3K.
rather than
Maybe we were
Riot's
29?
internal MMR.
I
Yeah.
really don't
And
remember.
they're kind of a meme because you can manipulate them. If everybody played solo and always queued up at the same time, it would be a pretty good estimate of player skill because it would much more closely match Riot's internal MMR. But neither of those things are true, right? People queue up with their friends and they queue
Yup.
up at different times. Some people might play at 3 a.m. Some people might play at 3 p.m. So as it stands,
Those are just
it's
not the
purely a
right
reflection
backgrounds for
of
3
who
a.m.
you
and
play
3
with
p.m.
and against.
3
Like I said,
p.m.
you
was
have
like
a lot of
middle of the
control over
night.
Yeah.
Like
if you queue up with 4 of the best ARAM players on your team against 5 of what Riot thinks are the best ARAM players that are queuing solo, you can win 60 plus games in a row and still not even be rank 1.
So if the only thing that matters for your MMR
dang.
and ARAM is who you're queuing with, then naturally what's going to happen is the top players on the ladder exclusively become players who only play in 5 stacks. This is ARAM Academy, a website dedicated to
Great
in-depth
site.
Very
ARAM
familiar.
analysis. According
I
to
learned
their
I should never
statistics,
play
the best
Echo,
theoretical team comp is to have
according
one carry,
to
2
that
supports,
site.
1 frontline that can engage, and 1 mage. I talked to the
Yep,
guys who
that is,
created ARAM Academy, and here's what they told me about the 5
Great
stacks.
team comp.
Dodging as a 5-stack is like a very common one. If you get a bad composition, a lot of these teams will just have
Okay,
one
I
of
care
their
about my
players
rank,
dodge and hop on
but
a different
I don't.
account.
Oh yeah, it
do
can
that.
take like
Yeah.
5-6 champ selects to get a game sometimes. And even though the Q pops are
That
fast,
is true.
someone's
There
dodging
will
'cause they
be
don't like the
times
comp
like late at
every
night
time.
where you're playing
Once you
and it will
eventually
take
get into a
like
game on the main
a
account
lot.
with IMMR, you play
guess I
against
only
a
really
very
play
small
ARAMs
set of champs. It's always like a very good composition you play against.
at night when I was playing a lot.
the top 100 are just 50 players then.
Yeah, the top
Yeah,
500.
that's about right.
The top 100 are like a small group.
I'd go smaller. I'd say it might be like the same 30 players in the top 100.
So essentially, these 5
Yeah,
stacks
that's
will
not-
continue
that's
to
not
dodge
us
until
cheap.
they
We never
assemble
went that
all
far. We were
5
only
pieces of
tryharding. We
Exodia
never used
to
dodge.
absolutely
One account, we were tryharding in game.
obliterate you in
Anything
their
out of
ARAM
game
game.
was
And
that's
remember,
fine,
if
though.
it's 2 teams of 5 stacks going up against each other, it's 10 players dodging back and forth. And they won't stop dodging until
Is this
both
why all our
teams have
games would
Exodia
get
in their
dodged
hand.
20 times? When you're higher?
Yeah, there were just games going on that we were not aware
It
of.
is
There
not
was like the
just because
ARAM
it's
game that we were
only
signing
form
up
of
for,
five
and then there was the
ARAMs.
mini game of getting all of
This is
the
the
things that
Ram
you
Ranch
wanted.
That
Cowboys.
explains it.
They
Actually,
are an EU
looking
West
back,
ARAM
there were
team
so many
considered
times
to
where like,
be
ah,
the
they just got a
best
crazy
team
comp. Like,
in
what are you
the
gonna do?
entire
Yeah,
These guys
it's
aren't
because they were
necessarily
dodging
high
every single
ranked
time till they
Yeah.
got that crazy
but they
comp.
mostly focus
Yeah.
on ARAM tournaments. Over the last few years, Riot has hosted many ARAM tournaments with RP prizes. Ram Ranch Cowboys was able to maintain a 95% win rate over roughly 1,000 teams. And the
Oh my
main reason they
God.
claim they were able to do this is because these guys, they didn't dodge, ever. While in regular ARAM games, you can abuse the dodge system to get a perfect composition in your hands. in
That's
tournaments,
yeah,
we're
you
Ram
can't do
Ranch,
that.
bro.
Your first roll
Yeah.
is your last roll. So the players that are used to playing perfect team compositions are not actually good at playing regular ARAM.
I think the most important thing is to say that we don't abuse anything. Like, we abuse maybe some drone that's OP or something, but we don't have ARAM accounts, we don't cheat.
Yo,
or
respect to the
something
Ram
like
Ranch
that.
Bros. We gotta
We
get up them.
understand the game very
Yeah,
well.
what's it
We
take to
They're
get
in
a part of the
a lot
Ram
the
Ranch?
game, a lot of
Ranch
them.
it up.
A lot of the teams that sign up for these tournaments
From the Midwest, you know
aren't
we like
as
ranch.
experienced, and they're just like
Oh,
looking
yeah.
for friends that
Grew
play,
up in a
so
ranch.
then
Style
it's
home.
much easier for us to get such high win rates.
No
Because
second
people
floor
that
here.
just don't know the game, or just, I mean, most of them just quit because they lost against us too many times, and then yeah.
Over the course of 3 years, Ram Ranch Cowboys has been able to farm an estimated $35,000 of RP.
Oh
my
my.
God.
Eventually,
Why
Riot basically
didn't
stopped
we-
doing RP prize tournaments because they
we
realized
never
that
hopped into that. I
effectively
wish we
feeding
knew
the Ram
about it.
Ranch Cowboys RP
Yeah.
is not an effective way to grow the ARAM community.
They're just like, yeah, these same people are just winning it every single time. Like,
Yeah.
we need to be
Finally,
done.
let's talk about the actual gameplay in High-ELO ARAM. What do these players actually do in order to win so many of their games? Aside from just being good overall players and having fairly large champion
It's all
pools,
about the
way
team
that
comp.
these High-ELO
It's picking
ARAMers approach the game is
for what your
completely
team
different.
needs.
It starts in the champion
Sometimes you just gotta
select.
recognize
As
you're
discussed
not
before,
the
best
carry.
composition is
Yep.
to have 180 carry, 2 supports, 1 mage,
Yep.
and 1 tanker bruiser. This is the best and most
Two
balanced
tanks, I'm a
theoretical
big
composition you
fan
can
of.
have, but even if you
I
can't
think
get
two
a perfect
ADCs is
5 out of
also
5 team
manageable.
composition,
Yeah.
it's
If you have
still
any
nice
more
to get
than
a
2,
3
then
or
like
4 out of 5.
people lose their
This is a
minds if they
general
get
tier list
ADCs
of what
when there's
most
more than
High-ELO
3 and they just
ARAMers
build them all
value.
AP.
Supports and enchanters
Yeah.
are first, engage frontliners second,
I'd put
mages third,
ADCs top-
ADCs fourth,
top
and
line.
assassins and early game junglers last.
I think
Most
you
people
need
on
one
ARAM will just
ADC,
build full
like,
damage and
yeah.
try to have fun with
One
it.
But-
ADC
But if
to
you're competing
really
seriously on ARAM, then you're
consistently
probably
winning.
not going to have that
Yeah.
luxury. What many
Enchanter
high-ranking
supports
players will
can
do is they
turn
will take
bruisers
crappy picks
into
and try to turn them into good
menaces,
picks.
though. I'll
Lee
say that.
Sin
Like,
is
if you have, like,
perhaps the best
3
example of
bruisers
this.
and then, like,
as an early game
a good
jungler
enchanter
and
support,
partial assassin,
like,
he is
yeah,
probably
that-
one of the
that-
shittiest champions on ARAM.
Yeah.
If a high-ranking player is stuck with Lee Sin, what
Okay,
he will
Lee
sometimes do
Sin
is he will
is
take Lee
good
Sin and
on
turn him
ARAM. I don't
into
care what
a
anyone
support,
says.
maxing
Being
W
able to
and
use
purchasing
snowball
support
onto
items
someone
like
and then kick
Moonstone,
flash them
Locket, and
consistently
Ardent
is
Sensor.
super
Although this Lee Sin
good,
is
'cause
obviously
flashes
not
on
going
a
to be
3-minute
as
cooldown
effective
on
as a
ARAM rather
Lulu
than a
or a
5-minute.
Janna at his job, in many
I'll say
situations
Lee
he will
Sin is
still be more
fun on
useful than a
ARAM.
regular Lee Sin.
Yeah.
I
It is
won't
better
say
to
whether
have
he's
a
good or not. I'll
garbage
refrain
god
from
tier
saying that.
champion than it is to have a good garbage tier champion. The
Actually
first thing you
played
do
this
after
support
champ
Lee Sin
select
build
in every
recently,
single
and it
ARAM
was
is purchase
okay.
starting
I
items.
still
And
think
most people
ordering
purchase
Hysterics
the wrong
generates
items.
a lot more value
Guardian
for your
items
team.
are
Yeah.
exclusive to ARAM, and there's a very good reason for that. They are insanely broken.
buy
Guardian's
Guardian
Blade
item
has the worst
pretty much
win
every
rate
game.
out of these 4 items. Yet this item is nearly 200% gold efficient.
Yeah.
The worst one, it's only 200%
I
efficient.
think I only
There's
buy
almost
Guardian's
no
Blade
scenario in which
on
High-ELO ARAMers
Ash
do not
when I'm
start with one
doing,
of these items on
like,
their first purchase.
Yeah.
If I'm
Only
doing the
real
Imperial
exception
Mandate
is
Ash,
when
that's
some
like the only
players will
time I'll
play
build that.
mages that are very mana
Yeah,
dependent,
most champs
so
just
they'll
want the
purchase
hammer.
Lost Chapter first instead of Guardian
The
Orb
sustain is better
because
than
Lost
the-
Chapter provides more mana.
yeah.
Hold on.
Guardian Horn, on the other hand, is actually so broken that it could be potentially built on everyone in the game.
True.
Starting Guardian Horn with 3
Horn is-
rejuve
yeah.
beads on a tank will feel very similar to starting with a Warmogs in the early game. You should never ever purchase red health potions on ARAM. It's
I
more
hate how they
gold efficient to
recommend
just
that
purchase
for
a
you, too.
rejuvenation
Yeah,
bead. The
it-
bead will provide you more
yeah,
HP
just
over
buy a
time
bead
and
or a
can be
refillable.
sold later on. Now let's get into the playstyle of High-ELO ARAMs. In ARAM, composition is everything, and there are 2 main possible team comps that you could end up with. The first is an early game composition mainly composed of bruisers and assassins. The second is a scaling composition that has mages and ADCs.
I
Based
think
on the tier
one
list
thing
alone,
that
it
you
is generally
want, if you
preferable to
have
get one of a
assassins,
scaling
is you want
composition.
poke.
But
You
these
don't
high-elo
necessarily
ARAMs
want
are
bruisers,
still
you want a lot
able
of
to
poke,
win
so then
crappier
the
comps
assassins
as
can
well.
like go in and
Here's
execute.
what they do. Most
Yeah.
people do not think that ARAM has neutral objectives.
it's kind of a
Dragon,
hard comp
Baron
to,
are all gone
execute
from
on.
ARAM.
Yeah.
But there is actually one small neutral objective that can snowball the game, and that is the health shrines. The first health relic spawns
Oh, I
at
love fighting off health
145,
shrines.
so that's the first objective
It's
that
bigger
your
and
team should be
than
fighting
stealing
for.
the
Whereas
opponent's
most
health
players
shrine
will
right in
just
front of their
start
turret.
fights randomly in the first few minutes of an ARAM, these guys will only start fights right before a health relic spawns. By fighting as a relic is going on, it means you're able to contest and sometimes even push the enemy team off of their health relic. The first health relic can be very important in terms of the tempo of the ARAM that you're about to play. Getting control of the first health
nothing
shrine
feels
will
worse
mean
than
you're
watching
able to
them
control the next 2 minutes
yoink
of
it
the
right
game.
in front of
At
you.
the time of its spawning,
nothing
everyone
feels
should
better
be
than
around level
yoinking it from
4,
right
and
under their
everyone will
eyes.
soon be able to hit
Yep.
level 5. The next minute and a half is very important because if
Dang, that was an
everyone
early
is able
tower
to
going down.
stay in lane and
That was,
continuously
yeah,
push
3
waves
minutes,
into the tower
not even.
first, then you guys are going to be able to hit the crucial
Oh my.
and biggest power spike of ARAM, which is the level 6 power spike. Having your
Yep.
entire
You
team
gotta watch
level
for
up
level
and
6
having
on
all of
ARAM.
their ultimates up while the enemy team doesn't
Sometimes
allows
I
you to
don't.
essentially rush
That-
down the first tower.
die.
And then I
Towers
die.
are the only real measurement in which a team is ahead in ARAM. Aside from the Nexus itself, they're the only
They're
real
making tier 2
objectives
at
that you can
3
take.
minutes.
High-Elo
ridiculous.
ARAMers value tower damage over everything else, including kills. If you can quickly take
We
the
definitely
first
don't
tower
do that.
on
We
the
have too
enemy
much
team,
fun
you
fighting.
will be able
Yeah.
to shut them out of one
There
of
is
their
the
outer health
heuristic
relics.
that
And if you're
I
ahead
have
enough,
that
you
is
can
just
even
push the
contest their
wave
inner
as
health
much as you
relic,
can,
cutting off
which
most
sort
their
of,
sustain.
like,
when a team no longer has
it's like
access to
a
health
lagging
relics,
measurement.
that removes most of their
Tower
defense
damage
against
doesn't
poke
quite work out for
champions.
there,
And
but
so
if
every
you're
bit
pushing,
of
you will
poke
get a
that
little
the
bit of
enemy
tower
team
damage.
takes afterwards is just more and more
Yeah.
devastating to them. As you poke an enemy
Sort
team
of want to go
down
play
under
another
the
ARAM
tower,
and then just
it
like hit
forces
the
them to
tower and just
engage on you
die.
and take an unfavorable fight.
Yeah,
They will
I-
have
I
no
feel like,
choice but
we
to
aren't high
engage on
enough
you. They
elo
can't sit
now
back
to
and scale because they don't
have a
have health
team
shrines,
cooperate
and they
in rushing
can't
down a tower.
engage a good
That's
fight
fine, we
because
just
they're
need two.
usually going to be a level
Oh,
down.
okay.
As
Yeah,
long as
just
you
you
and
and
your
I.
team are able
Just a
to
couple
get
of
damage
gamers.
on the enemy towers,
Yeah.
you are making progress. It is perfectly okay to slowly chunk and
That's
chip
also
out a
the
tower
thing where
with
it's
things
like,
demolish.
in
If you
ARAM,
need to die
if-
and reset to go back
if you
to base
die,
to either
it's
heal
not
or
that
buy
bad.
items, the best thing
Yeah.
to do is to always just sacrifice yourself to
But
get a
you have
few
to
more
die
auto
in a time
attacks
where
in on
you
the
get
enemy tower.
more benefit
When you're
from
playing
your
this
death
type of
on
composition,
tower
you need
damage
to
than they do.
always
Because
push
if you
up the
die
minion
and then you
wave
just get to walk
before
up
you
and
start
free
a
hit your
fight.
turret for
Even if
Yeah.
you win a
15
team fight,
seconds,
if you're
then
winning it
it
on
ain't
your
worth
side of the map,
Yeah,
it
if
will
you're
still take
far
at
into
least
their
20
base,
minutes for
or
your
if it's
minions
early
to
on
be
where
able to
the
reach enemy
timers
side
are
of the
pretty
map in
low, you
order for
can
to be able to
probably
push
just
something.
Yeah.
int
When
into
you're
their
playing
tower if
early
your
game
minions are
comps,
there.
you have to always make sure that your minion wave is pushed up. By being on a timer, you gotta take every single bit of damage that you
Old
can
Voldy
get
Bear.
off of their tower.
Yeah.
Winning
Now,
in
let's
8
say you're on
minutes,
the
you'll
other
never
side
see
of this
it.
matchup,
That is
and you have
crazy.
a scaling composition against another
Clean
mean, it
win. The
happened.
enemy
What should you be
Kog'Maw
doing
gives them
in
the
order to stall them
congratulations.
out? This side of the matchup is a lot more simple, but also a lot more boring. You do one thing. You focus on scaling, and you clear the minion waves. High-Elo
Yep.
ARAM games used to go up to 40 and 50 minutes because teams would simply sit under their tower,
Oh, remember?
camp,
Oh,
clear
That was the
minion
most
waves, and not
disappointing
take
ARAM
time to
game
interact
I
with
think
the
I've
enemy
ever
team.
played.
These
It's
players
so-
are far more willing to
Oh.
do boring
Oh.
things in order to win their games. So
Yeah, we
sitting
were
under
never
tower
willing
and
to
killing
really
nothing
do
but
that.
minions for
We-
20 minutes
Yeah.
is not out of the
There was
question.
one game that
This
we were
is where a
playing against a
very
team that
unique
just sat
event
under their
in
second
ARAM
tier tower
happens.
for 15
And
minutes.
it's
No,
event
it
that
was
you've
under their
probably never
Nexus
seen
turrets.
on
We
this
had
game
the
mode
inhib
before.
down, I
This is
remember.
an
Oh,
event
did
that
we? Okay,
regularly
well,
happens in Summoner's Rift,
They were just
but
sitting way
it's one
back,
that
and we
only
were
the
just
very
like,
never
high-elo
do
ARAM
something.
teams
Didn't
have
have
ever
the
actually
ability to
witnessed in
dive
their
it.
games.
It was the worst
This is
thing.
when high-elo ARAM teams will freeze the minion wave.
Yup.
Yes, we
You
had
can
that.
actually freeze the wave in ARAM. And yes, they will actually fucking do it. Freezing the wave in a
We,
regular game of
you
League
know,
of Legends
have
serves
some
a
moral
very
high
simple
ground.
purpose.
We never
You're
did
denying
that.
someone gold and EXP before they can come back into a lane.
We
Or
we
you're
played
so
against
far
it,
ahead of them that you're
but
able
we
to
didn't do it.
essentially deny them any gold or EXP whatsoever. Freezing in ARAM serves a completely different purpose. When you're playing an early game composition, and you know that with each passing minute, the chance of victory is getting slimmer and slimmer, you need to go to some desperate measures in order to get the enemy team out from under their tower and actually fight you. So what can you do? The only real option you have is freezing. By freezing and denying the wave, it forces the
We did
enemy
do
team
this a little
to
bit, where
have
you
to
just
walk
don't
up
kill
on
the
you,
wave.
to have
Yeah.
to come up to you. If those champions are not coming up for these minions, then they're losing the only real gold income they're getting on their team.
But see,
Basically,
then you go in
freezing
that
is
quickly
only
and
something
you
that
just
can ever
lose it
happen in
anyway.
High-Elo ARAM,
Yeah.
because it takes both teams for freezing to actually do anything. One team has to be committed to being cowards and hiding under their tower, and the other team has to be committed to look for a fight. Even though though something like this is completely impossible to do in a solo queue ARAM team, if you're playing in a tournament 5-stack for RP,
Yeah,
then
I guess we never
anything
played
is
enough
on the table.
tournament or like we
Yeah.
oftentimes only had 3 or 4 people, so we're never playing 5 stacks.
Yeah.
Do you see this guy? This is a poro. They are well loved in League
what's
of
up,
Legends,
Poro?
and rightfully so. In every game of ARAM, you will start
Kinda
off
looks
with
like
a
a
single
Canadian from
poro
South
snack
Park,
in your
now that
inventory.
I looked
If
at
you
it up
feed the
close.
poro, it will become slightly bigger. If everyone feeds the same poro, then it will continue to get bigger and bigger until it explodes.
This is unrelated,
into
but I
several
just looked on
smaller
Twitter.
poros. Now, that
Too
alone
much.
should be reason enough to feed poros every single game.
Yeah, I saw that.
But
That's good.
for High-ELO
Yeah.
ARAMers, there's even a practical reason for feeding your poro.
Wait, there's a
If you have a
practical
poro
reason
snack
for
in
feeding
your
the poro?
inventory, then the poros on the map will follow you for it. Poros have their own separate unique visions and can see into bushes. Although their tether range isn't very long, they will follow you wherever you go.
Wait,
So if
I've
someone
never
on the
seen
enemy
someone
team
do
was
that.
paying very good attention towards a single poro, then they could essentially figure out your position based on where the
I've
poros
never
are
done
going. By not feeding poros, you are actually putting yourself at a tactical disadvantage.
Huh.
So please, if you've learned anything from this video,
Okay, I
remember
learned
one
that.
thing. Feed your
Yeah.
fucking poros.
I didn't think I would come away learning anything from this, but I did not
Thank
know
you for watching.
I didn't
Please
think
like,
about that.
share, and comment on this video.
Yeah.
It does really help with the video's reach. Big thank you to everyone at r/aram for providing me with such amazing information on their community. You can go check them out in the description.
Never
Special
posted on
thanks to the Ram
r/aram,
Ranch
but we
Cowboys,
spent our time
Jason
looking
Zoe,
at it.
Spaz
Oh,
M,
yeah.
Omega, Just a Slice of Life, Super Cole Isaac, Gom Jabbar, Sammy Dere, Ben
Alright, I think
Lapatin,
we got the
and
shout
all of
out
the
on that
members of
done.
the ARAM Academy
Yeah.
team. These guys taught me so
Okay.
much about the ARAM community and
Alright,
shared
so
so many
I guess closing thoughts on the documentary.
Yeah, there were some good things in it. It was very general, and
Yeah.
it was a historical look at it. Like, what's the living history that we're in right now in ARAM? I think the living history is Warmog tank first item.
Yeah,
That's sort of ridiculous right now.
and I think the ebb and flow of who gets buffed and nerfed on ARAM exclusively
Yeah.
dictates a lot more than this ever went into. I feel like the fact that it really missed out on not talking about Akali.
Yeah, like those champions that I think this is the case with Yorick too. Yorick on the opposite end, where Yorick is just this incredibly easy champion to play, and he can be sort of difficult to play against. So he has a high win rate in ARAM, but he's actually not that good as you get better at the game, because people learn how to deal with your it's trap enclosement. I don't know what the ability is called. If I was cooler, I'd know what it was called.
I just always call it the fence.
The fence. They can deal with the fence. They know to hit the ghouls, take
Kill
those
the
out
maid.
before they do too much damage. So he's just not as good as you get better at the game. But in low elo ARAM, he's just disgusting. Disgustingly
Yeah.
strong, that is.
Yeah, and on the other side, Akali is just absolute trash tier if you aren't good at her and you don't know how to play her on ARAM. She is a very unique champion, I would say, and she's just insanely hard. She has a 45% win rate in solo queue.
Yeah.
So she's just really hard. And because of that, she has probably still the lowest win rate. Let me pull that up. Yeah, she has a 43% win rate in ARAM right the lowest of any champion. And that champion is good on ARAM.
Yeah.
Because her Shroud is one of the only assassin tools that is still beneficial in the middle of an entire enemy team. If you look at most tools assassins have, right? It's better than Talon ult, because if Talon gets CC'd, he's just stuck, and then his ult doesn't last that long. If you look at something like, I don't know what other assassins are there. Zed, his mobility doesn't matter. 1 point and click, he's stuck in the middle of the team.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
Akali just gets to sit there, invisible. Doesn't matter what you do to her, and dance around your team. And there was a point where she dealt 20% increased damage and took 15% reduced, I think. And it got to the point where people were building her as an AD bruiser, because with those changes, it was more beneficial because you did enough damage with a Ravenous Hydra to kill
Yeah.
to kill squishies, and then you were just unkillably tanky.
Yep. The life steal was really funny, where it was since you have this 15% buff in either direction, you're getting an extra 15% life steal or whatever, and you're also you're taking less damage, so that life steal's sort of doubly impactful.
Yeah,
that was
but
ridiculous.
overall, I really enjoyed the documentary. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I like watching League documentaries.
Yeah, we might pull out some more React stuff as anything catches our interest. But for now, I think that's it for us here.
Yeah. See
I
you on the
hope you enjoyed.
abyss.
Yeah, see ya on the abyss. If you ever see us, say hi. We'll say hi back. Maybe we'll bring you on the show. Who knows?
All right. Bye.
Peace.